Hey guys, welcome to another Hyperdash tutorial. Today's topic is positioning. I gotta say, knowledge of positioning is one of the skills that really distinguishes noobs from the intermediates from the top tier players. I've definitely been playing this game for a long time before release, and I can tell you for sure that the players who pick up positioning really excel very quickly to the point that they can carry teams. The ones who don't pick up positioning, they just kind of plateau at a level where they can win a lot of 1v1s, but they can't really make a meaningful impact on their team's outcome in matches. If you're watching this, you should definitely dedicate a lot of time and thought to this. It is going to really enhance your gameplay as you continue refining this skill. Alright, so let's talk core principles. When you're thinking about where to position yourself, you have to always be thinking, how can I give myself and my team an advantage? A good position has to give you a tactical advantage of some kind. It could be an escape route, easier kills, a hiding place, a spot where you can recharge your dashes, or just a spot for you to collect intel for your team. The primary goal though of your positioning has to be to help your objective or to stop your opponents from achieving theirs. Alright, so for the beginners, high ground. For the noobs out there who just started playing, taking high ground is definitely one of the easiest positioning techniques you can use. High ground often gives you sight lines for easier kills. It's way easier to hit a headshot if you're above it. It also gives you the ability to see more and pass information back to your teammates. High ground allows you the ability to use it as cover. In some spots you can just back up a little bit, duck some, and then you have some cover from your opponent who can't see you anymore. When you're trying to control an area, fighting for the high ground is one of the easiest things you can do that'll help you win 1v1s. And it's also going to help your team. Here's an example. You're playing defense on Canyon, you're holding down a position on the high ground near this health room. An opponent tries to engage you. So you quickly dash away for cover and then come right back and kill them. Had you tried to engage them on the low ground, you might have died and you wouldn't have done much for your team. Instead, you've taken out this one player and you're still holding this area, preventing other opponents from passing through it. So just to recap, taking the high ground is like the easiest thing you can do in terms of positioning. If you're new and you're playing in a match, you don't know what to do when your team's pushing, take some high ground, try to control those areas, it'll definitely make a difference. Intermediates, taking up sight lines. So for you intermediate players out there who've been getting up your aim skills, since you now know where the high ground is, it's time for you to start taking up sight lines. Sight lines are positions that allow you to pick off your opponents from afar, and they allow you to better gain control of areas or allow you to control areas better. Sight lines allow you the benefit of dealing damage to your enemies while being able to pass intel onto your team. A cardinal sin of playing with a team in Hyperdash is going in by yourself, right? You always want to wait for your team. So taking up a sight line allows you to deal some damage and delay your enemy's objective while you wait for your rest of the team to show up for the coordinated push. If you're not sure what a sight line is, it's a spot where you can see a long distance and you can shoot. That's pretty much what it is. Here's an example. Your team is on offense and you're alone waiting for them to arrive so you can make your group push. Taking up this sight line, notice the high ground here, allows you to deal some damage to any disruptors who push up. Notice how you can watch the shotgun room, the main rail, and all doors of the triangle room from this spot. You can also pass along information about where your enemies are setting up, and that's going to help your team be better prepared when they arrive and you're ready to push. So just to recap, taking up sight lines is where you take up a spot where you can see, you have a line of sight, that's a distance, you can shoot. It helps you control areas, helps you to pick off your enemies from afar, and allows you to actually be useful while you're waiting for your team to group up. Alright, so for the advanced players out there, picking positions is one of the most important skills that you can learn. It's definitely something that you'll gain with time and experience the more you play, especially in structured play. You'll learn more and more about how to pick positions, but today I'll give you some advice on, some of the principles. So when you're thinking about picking a position, you have to sort through a lot of information. You have to figure out where your team is, what your team objective is, and where your opponents are to pick the best spot. You gotta think to yourself, like, what's gonna give me the most advantage right now? If you're alone, A high ground sight line or a covered place might be the best spot to be. If your team is mostly positioned near the checkpoint, maybe taking up a position on the opposite side in the flank will be a better choice. It takes a lot of judgment to be able to decide the best spot in each moment that you should be in, and that's definitely going to come with more thought and experience. But really, you need to be constantly thinking and evaluating as you play. A way to help you sort through some of this information is just asking yourself, where's my team? Where are the enemies? Does this position give me any cover or an escape route? Does it let me pass on information to my team? Is it a space that we need to control to win? Is this position supporting my team or is it stopping my enemy? What areas can I control from this position? Okay, here's an example. So you're pushing payload with another teammate and you see your enemies moving in to gain control and to set up their defense. The best option really might be to jump on health, where you've got this extra health here. You can hold this sight line along with using the high ground. You can take cover if you need. You can shoot someone pushing the cart, and you can also instantly jump on if your teammate dies to keep your push going. If you throw in some sprint strafing, and you can make some amazing plays. A bad place to position yourself might be jumping to shield room, where it's really easy to kill you with rockets and bounce shots. Even though you kind of have high ground over here, you can't help the push to continue if you're needed, and you're directly in your enemy's sight lines. So just to recap, it's going to take a lot of judgment and a lot of playtime to really develop this skill, but determining which spots to be in at all times is definitely something you should work on. Keep in mind that you're determining where you're going to be based on where your team is, your enemies, and your objective. Your goal is to try and take some spot that'll give you an advantage. So just play around with it, find a spot. Every season you see more and more players finding new spots, and the meta is constantly changing, so be creative. Alright, so if you want to be a superstar tier player, SS tier player, if you want to excel to the SS tier, then you have to learn how to dash from position to position to chain together your kills. You want to learn how to dash from one spot to another, and then another, so you can maximize your impact on the objective and for your team. Here you are on defense, so you dash up here. You've got cover from anyone leaving the shotgun room, and you can shoot anyone in the shield over there. You then dash over here, where you have high ground, along with a sight line. Now you dash here, where you're covered, and now up here. And notice you can pick off anyone coming up main rail, or through the shotgun. You continue rotating from spot to spot, and make it really difficult for the other team to make any progress here. So just to recap, excelling to the top tier of players in this game requires you to be able to learn how to dash from spot to spot in a rotation in order to maximize your impact on your team and on the game. Practice doing this and you'll see that your defense will become stronger and your offense will become stronger on a lot of the different maps. Alright, so that's it for this one, everyone. You definitely want to take these tips here and work on them. Using the high ground, taking up sight lines, learning how to pick good positions, and then learning how to rotate from position to position in order to maximize your effectiveness in game. Put in some time, put in the hours. A lot of the top players have put in 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 hours at this point. So put in your hours and put in the attention on it, and you'll notice that your skill will just skyrocket. All right, see you guys in the next one.